Divide and Conquer. Hi, welcome to Get Gardening. I'm Roofe, and in this video we're looking at dividing and multiplying primroses and polyanthus. And it's that time of year when these wonderful little spring beauties, which you would have seen in previous videos we've done, have done their thing, have flowered, and they will start to get a little bit full of leaf, and at some point, if they're doing really well, they'll start to get a little bit congested. Now, the thing about primroses and polyanthus is that in order to keep them vigorous and to keep them flowering and to keep them healthy, regular division of the clumps is what's needed to split them down into smaller groups, plant them in other parts of the border or other parts of the garden, and it increases our numbers, increases the quantity, and just keeps them looking really good. So here, in the perfume corridor at East Ruston, I've got a clump of what is called tomato red, and it's just going over. You can see there, lovely little primrose, beautiful thing, lovely variety, and its flowers are just now going over. You can see as it's starting to bleach out a little bit in the colour, and it's a prime specimen here for splitting and dividing. One thing is that if we do happen to possibly get something like vine weevil in here as well, which can happen with primroses, then by me splitting some and increasing the clump and moving it elsewhere, I'm guaranteed I keep that plant going. And particularly we find with tomato red is that if it does get too congested, it just tends to sometimes sort of have a great will to die in that instance, and so by division we should hopefully keep it good. Now, it's quite a warm day today, but don't worry too much because these plants are extremely resilient. And what we're going to do with a fork here is we're going to just lift a couple of these clumps up. And these haven't been in this perfume corridor very long. I'll tell you what the secret is, that we fill all our new beds at East Ruston with the soil that comes from A, any composting we do, and B, any bonfires that we have. And, you know, any garden this size can't get away without composting or having an odd bonfire, and this is that lovely rich soil which has got lots of potash in it and lots of organic matter, and that's why these things do so well. So we'll just lift this out, and you'll see I've got lovely crowns here, lots of good roots on there, and it seems like a bit of an odd thing to do, to be splitting at this time of year, but it really is good once they finish flowering, because they would almost sort of start to almost go slightly dormant in some ways. So, you know, by dividing them and replanting them now, they'll then kickstart themselves again into growth, and away they will go. So the important thing is dividing up, and I just tend to use my hands like this, you see, and we're just putting them apart. That's lovely. And also, you know, don't be too greedy with them. I'm not going to split these down too small. Just tease them apart again. So I'm going to give that a little twist there. There we are. I'm going to lay that down like so. If you split them down into two smaller crowns, and the temptation is to split them down into something like that, then they don't often come back so well. And I think really it's because they're quite sociable. They like being in groups. They don't like being alone. It's like snowdrop bulbs. We find our snowdrop bulbs always do better, so we'll tear them apart again. See, now that one little clump, we've got 4 lovely new clumps, and we do the same with this one here. Pull that out. It's not got quite so much root on it. We'll have a little check as well and see there's no signs of vine weevil on there, but primroses are particularly prone to vine weevil, and we would probably see a small bit of notching on the foliage, and we'd find little white grubs in the base of those crowns at the minute. So let's just pull them apart again as well. Now, they've come apart quite easy, but I did bring with me an old strawberry spade just in case, because with some varieties, particularly if you pan down there to little Katie McSparran, who's looking absolutely lovely, and she's a double cowslip and she's flowering away really lovely, then she has a slightly tougher and a slightly fuller crown, in which case a sharp blade on the strawberry spade is ideal for slicing her up. She doesn't tend to pull apart quite so easily. I've also bought myself a trowel somewhere. Here we are. Obviously being vintage, here we are at East Ruston. What I'm going to do is just spread these out. I think what I'll do is I'll keep 3 clumps to go elsewhere, I think, as a little insurance policy, just in case we lose some. And then these ones I'm going to plant in here just to make this group bigger. You know, in a garden of this size as well, you know, we want to get as big a clumps as possible. Now, if you've got primrose with particularly big leaves, then you can reduce the foliage on them. Where are my snips? Here we are. You can always just reduce those leaves back a bit. If you've got varieties that might be sort of particularly large leaves and think they're going to struggle in the warmth of this particular time in spring. And sometimes you can, if you need to, you can trim the roots off as well. Don't worry too much about that. They're very, very resilient. But for this tomato soup, tomato red I should say, I'm not going to worry too much. But there we are, put them in backfill, push them in quite nicely. We'll put another one in there. There we are, like so. Do a bit of weeding while I'm here as well, look at that, look. Then we'll put that one in there like that. And what we've got here, and that's it, I think. They're old leaves. And I've got 3 plants I'm going to put in somewhere else in the garden just to keep them as insurance, like I say, keep that variety going. I'll water these in well, and I'll come and check them every couple of days because it is quite a dry spring at the moment and it can often happen. It's going to cool down in a week or so, but that'll be fine. But I'll keep watering these every few days and they'll root away quite happily and bulk up to give us even more tomato red for next spring. I'm trying, you know, I think it might be because I've taken my beard off a bit and I can feel the air, but I'm getting a bit chinny. I'm literally trying to live off salad at the moment. If you put this on as an outtake,